Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater. And I am an unabashed Star Wars fan. I have been open about that. I have been very honest about that. And I'm looking forward to Rise of Skywalker. I really am. I think Rise of Skywalker is going to be a nice way to kind of just end where we are and hopefully then look forward to the future, right? I'm not expecting the Rise of Skywalker to be an insanely fantastic film. I'm hoping that it's a good. I'm hoping that it's a good closure, but I'm still excited to see it. I think I'm more excited for Disney Plus, if I'm being honest with you. But a person out there who's really not wanting to go to Disney Plus, albeit I think that's going to change, is John Boyega here. Now, Boyega, who's been in the series as Finn, the former stormtrooper, for the last 4 years, he really does want to make sure that he can keep being in the Star Wars world, provided that his friends are in it too. And so when he got asked the question about going to Disney Plus, his response was actually a little bit different. I thought he might. He says here that there's no way that he'd be returning to Disney Plus at all. Now, it's a little bit interesting of an article to look at, or at least it's an interesting thing to look at, right? It's like you're being asked, would you come back for this new streaming service that is now currently hosting the most popular show in the world, which is The Mandalorian, and come on in and get exposed to a much larger audience than those who would just watch the movies, and to keep you with a steady paycheck? And his answer to that is no. And I can't quite figure out specifically if it's just because he is being prideful or if it's because he is being dumb. It is you know what? And the two, the two are probably closer together than you might think. Now it says here, will The Rise of Skywalker be the last time we see Finn in a galaxy far, far away? John Boyega isn't totally ruling out a return, but he has some strict conditions. First and foremost, he's only willing to come back for a new movie if it and isn't interested at all in starring in a Disney Plus show. Plus, he would need his co-stars Daisy Ridley and Oscar Isaac to agree, and that would be the real challenge. The cast has been promoting the release of Episode 9 as of late, which is set to conclude the Skywalker saga. During a recent interview, Boyega, Oscar Isaac, and Daisy Ridley were asked if they'd be interested in continuing the stories of Finn, Poe, and Rey. And somewhere down the line, this is what Boyega had to say. He says, "In what? You ain't going to Disney Plus me?" And he laughs. And I just kind of think that's a really bad statement to make, right? Like, oh, what? You're not going to Disney Plus me? It's like, oh, so you don't want to go where there's going to be just so much money? Again, I'm kind of like confused and flabbergasted and also laughing at what Boyega here is saying. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, do you want stability and solid job work? No? Okay. Okay, I guess that's kind of where we find ourselves here. Now, it says, lighthearted as his Star Wars comments may have been, they seem to come from a genuine place. Boyega is far more interested in starring in movies and isn't interested in a series. Disney Plus is currently airing The Mandalorian, the first Star Wars live-action series, with Rogue One prequel starring Diego Luna also in the works, as well as an Obi-Wan series that will see Ewan McGregor return as the iconic Jedi. But speaking further, Boyega explained that he'd come back for more movies under one condition, saying, I ain't getting no Disney Plus. I'm watching it though. I'll stay in the feature films as long as Daisy and Oscar are down. Then I'll come back. And I think the next line here summarizes kind of where I sit on this. And they say, therein lies the problem. Daisy Ridley and Oscar Isaac are very in-demand stars. This franchise has taken up a better chunk of their time for the last 5 years. With the trilogy coming to a close, they both want to move on. Isaac says he would feel happy and fulfilled. Or says he feels happy and fulfilled where things are now. Ridley explains she would be hesitant because she feels like this is such a great conclusion. And again, when you look at something like, let's say, John Boyega here, he's not as in demand as you might think. He's not as in demand as one might assume or expect coming off of a Star Wars movie. And there was that article, the interview with Mina Masad, who played Aladdin, a movie made over $1 billion. It was one of the biggest movies of the summer, one of the biggest movies of the year. And he hasn't been able to score an audition since that movie came out, predominantly because nobody went to go see it for him. They went to go see it for Will Smith as the genie and Naomi Scott as Jasmine. And I think that's kind of the bigger aspect of it there. But Boyega here, taking a look at his IMDb, I think will give us an idea about why I think he will eventually be returning to Star Wars on Disney Plus. I really do. I really think this. So taking a look here just at what he's at right now. So he's currently filming one episode of a mini series called Small Axe. He's in a movie, it's in post-production, called Naked Singularity, coming out next year. That just one movie next year, one TV show next year, which I get because there's been a lot going on with Rise of Skywalker, so I get it. He was a voice of Bigwig in 4 episodes of Watership Down. He was in, and this is fun, kind of funny when he says, I ain't gonna do no Disney Plus, but he voiced Finn a number of times, 6 times it looks like here, for Star Wars Forces of Destiny between 2017 and 2018. And the last big movie he starred in was last year's Pacific Rim Uprising, which completely tanked and crashed and burned. Before that, he was in Star Wars Episode 7. Then he was in Star Wars 2, or Battlefront 2 as Finn. And then he was in Detroit, which was a Catherine Bigelow movie, which again did not do well financially or even with awards. Then he also tried his hand at a young adult novel adaptation with The Circle, co-starring Emma Watson, or starring actually opposite of her, as well as Tom Hanks, and that movie crashed and burned. Then he also was what is this? Oh, he was Finn in Lego Star Wars, the video game. And he's been in a couple other things, but really going back to 2015, he's been in predominantly Star Wars. You know, that's what he's been doing since 2015. He's been in a couple other things here and there. He was in 24 miniseries. He was in The Whale. But really what most people know him as is from 2011's Attack the Block, which is that's a great movie. It's an absolutely great movie, written and directed by Joe Cornish, and John Boyega definitely shines in that role, which is one of the reasons why I think that he ended up getting the job that he got with Star Wars, because of Attack the Block. So when you look at the idea of John Boyega here, when you look at him and you think to yourself, man, this guy's been in Star Wars. He's been in so many things. Like, he's clearly going to end up, he's going to have a career post Star Wars. Look at his career during Star Wars, right? He's tried a couple things. He's done a big budget, a Pacific Rim Uprising, thinking that, Universal thought, well, we're going to be able to get Finn. That's going to bring in some people. It didn't. He went on to go do more dramatic flair with Oscar-winning Catherine Bigelow that nobody went to go see. He did a young adult adaptation that, again, nobody went to go see, and it got critically panned with The Circle. And other than that, he's just been doing small little Star Wars side projects. So if you've already been doing small little Star Wars side projects, why are you tripping over your own dick here and saying, I won't do Disney Plus? I won't do Disney Plus unless Daisy and Oscar come back into it. And the thing is, dude, their career is way bigger. And I'm not trying to discredit John Boyega here. I'm not trying to attack John Boyega here. I think he's a talented actor. I do think that whole leaked script thing was absolutely BS, even though he did reply to me on Twitter and said that it was real. But I think ultimately where he's at now in his career is not in a great place, right? Coming off of Star Wars, he's going to be typecast as Star Wars. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to do it. But we're kind of in an age now where the movie star is dead. And I agree with that sentiment by Anthony Mackie, where, Finn is Finn. John Boyega, the vast majority of the world knows John Boyega as Finn. And he hasn't really been able to find a breakout role outside of that, at least not in another franchise and everything else. It's kind of like Chris Hemsworth with Thor. Chris Hemsworth does a great job as Thor. Everyone loves him as Thor. His efforts outside of that have basically fallen flat time and time and time again, which is why he's going to stick around doing Thor. If Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, or whoever's going to be running Lucasfilm or Disney next goes to John Boyega and says, listen, we'd like to pick up the story of Finn 5 years down the road or something like that, what he's been up to, would you be interested in coming back in a couple years? Yeah, John Boyega is going to come in and say 100%. 100% I'm going to do this because he's going to need the money. And again, I'm not trying to be mean, but we are in a different state now when it comes to actors, when it comes to these jobs. So getting a 8-episode run, season, gives you 3-4 months of work. You get paid, and you may not be as much as what you got off of Star Wars, or because of the prolonged work, it actually ends up being more. And you get to feed into a fan base that is there to prop you up and support you. But the problem then lies in the fact that the artist versus the art. And if Boyega considers himself an artist, which I don't know if he does, he's going to find himself in a world of hurt down the road when he is now kind of typecast as this character. And he's going to have to do some real edgy, dark indie films in order to break away from that. But that doesn't always work. John Stamos tried it back in the 80s or early 90s when he was on Full House, and he wanted to get rid of that squeaky clean Uncle Jesse look, right? That idea that people had of him, that vision. And so he went on to go do some pretty edgy stuff, and it ended up blowing up in his face. And then he just went right back to being Uncle Jesse, and that's what he's known for. There's nothing wrong with being typecast, is what I'm ultimately trying to say. But Boyega here needs to understand and recognize that this is his life. And at this point, he's better to just embrace it than he is to try to fight against it. And I know he's trying to act tough right now because the dude is like 27 years old and he's at the top of his game, but this is the top of his game. Not to say it's always going to be, it's going to be downhill. It can be placated. It can be held onto. But don't look a gift horse in the mouth, especially as we go into the time frame now, or we go into the world now where Netflix streaming, Hulu, Amazon, Disney Plus, whatever, is going to start taking over, right? Here's the thing, and I'm just going to leave it at this. When Michael Bay is doing a movie for Netflix with Ryan Reynolds, one of the top stars in the world, and they're doing a Netflix movie, John Boyega doesn't have an absolute leg to stand on, and he needs to get over his ego and ask himself, do you want to work or do you want to flounder into irrelevance? That's the question. Now, I leave it to you. Your thoughts, your opinions, let me know down in the comments below. I look forward to them. Please leave a like if you want to help out. Support the channel via Patreon if you really want to help out, which I would love very much. And I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out. This video is supported by patrons like you. If you'd like to become a patron, please head over to patreon.com/Matt Jarbo.